Hello Taurus, Taurus rising and Taurus moon people. This is your weekly astrological and card horoscope for the week starting October 9th, 2017. And a quick reminder for all of you Taurus people out there, remember, if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always follow the links below or go to integrativemysticism.com. And your monthly astrology horoscopes for October have been up for a week, so people are still asking me, and you can find that on the main channel page in its very own playlist. So what is going on with your astrology anyway, Taurus? Well, on Monday going overnight into Tuesday, we've got Mercury, planet of communications, haste and speed, in Libra, in your 6th house of work, reputation, physical health, your schedule, forming a tense square to Pluto, currently in your 9th house of higher education, government and legal proceedings, travel, culture, and your spiritual life. And what's going on with this here is usually when you see Mercury and Pluto come into a square in a transit, we find out information we probably aren't meant to have. We stumble upon info or intel that we're not meant to have yet. And in this case, it could create a bit of a clash. You could be catching up on a conflict of interest or a schedule clash or something that is already in the works of being planned for you. Whether this has to do with a trip you're trying to take, or perhaps something going on with school, or your work schedule, you do catch wind of this before it's actually made official. Now, it's very, very important to pay attention to the fact that when we have Mercury square Pluto, it's not the best idea to go and use that and go and confront the information right away. Remember, you're not meant to have it. So this is your opportunity to get ahead or adjust for whatever this big shift is, and make it not a problem, but also solve the problem in secret with the secret information that you get, okay? This is not something you hear from the grapevine and then kick the professor or the boss's door down and go see what the hell's going on. Gotta handle this subtle secret squirrel, just like Pluto. On the 11th, okay, going into Wednesday and overnight Thursday, we've got Mars, planet of action, energy, and conviction, in Virgo, in your 5th house of love and romance, pleasure, your relationships with your kids, forming a tense square to Saturn, currently in your 8th house of shared resources, passive income, and intimacy. And this might actually create a bit of a fight. This is a fight angle, and I always tell people with Mars square Saturn, play defense. Whoever starts the fight will probably lose the fight. This is definitely an angle where there could be a clash, maybe with a child or a partner over shared resources and finances, shared space, schedules, things like that. This can also, for everyone 18 and over, this can also create a misunderstanding over perhaps an intimate encounter with a partner. You know, there may be something that kind of throws a partner off or something like that. So you want to be very, very mindful with that. People can read a lot into things that they probably shouldn't with Mars square Saturn. They get more insecure, everyone gets a bit more defensive, and just be aware of that shift there. Mars square to Saturn, though, it does last for a few days. So, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you know, play it cool. This will pass, all right? Just don't let anyone's insecurities become, you know, the main show, all right? And if it does have to do with shared resources, don't even think about, you know, having that finance talk with your kids or your boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife, or anything like that until Friday is come and gone, okay? Let's just agree to wait until, like, the weekend. So what's going on with your cards this week? Well, for your spiritual advice, we do have the card of the Hare. And the Hare is kind of interesting because the Hare talks about a new, I guess you could say, more prosperous and fertile beginning coming around the horizon. It's a shift in the seasons of your life. And when we have the Hare, usually it doesn't substantiate right away. This could actually be like the first week of a transition period for you. We do have, you know, again, you look at the symbolism here, we do actually have, you know, the Stonehenge in the background, the change of the seasons in the sky. And what's happening here is that we're moving away from a really dark period into some kind of really light period. And usually the Hare will bring some kind of messenger, some kind of task, or perhaps even some kind of character closer into your life to represent that shift. And usually with the Hare, though, we have to be mindful, because the Hare can also bring a warning. because the hare or the rabbit can be a symbol of what's called the fear collar. So while we may have this ally or this asset coming our way, we also want to make sure that we are not bringing our fears closer as well. If we are starting to get paranoid about things, if we're starting to feel doubts, second thoughts, the worst case scenarios, the hare can talk about accidentally, letting those thoughts or those worries reject whatever this change is. So this week is definitely very important to pay attention to where, we need to cut that out, okay? For your Earth sector, when it comes to your work and finances, we do have the Wheel of Fortune upright. Beautiful card for work and finances because it does indicate that usually with this card we do have that sudden uptick of luck without any hands-on effort by ourselves. And those of you who've been listening to me for a while, I'm all about being active and asserting your free will, but when the Wheel of Fortune is upright and it shows up, I'm kind of like, okay, this is the time to surrender and see something good happen. This could be an uptick in terms of your earnings, this could be an uptick in terms of your savings. Again, this could be coming with the help of an outside ally, or perhaps even some kind of change in an initiative, or perhaps a proposal coming to you at work, or a new job offer coming out of the blue. And a lot of these things with the Wheel of Fortune are completely random. This is not something that you would have known a week ago. So this would have been a random shift, but it definitely is something an advantageous coincidence, I guess you could say, that may surprise you midweek. For your communications with air, when it comes to your friends, your relatives, and the others in your life, you do have the Seven of Pentacles reversed. And a lot of you Taurus people may be cutting somebody out this week. Some of you may be deciding you're just kind of gone and done with a friend or an associate that you just know you're not going to want to deal with that person anymore. And sometimes that sucks, but this could just be some social pruning that needs to happen. Whether it's like, I can't talk to that guy anymore, he drives me nuts, every time I talk to him I get a migraine, or I don't want to deal with her because she's, more of a user of a person than a friend. You may actually be starting to get some clarity on those kinds of relationships this week. And the Seven of Pentacles reverse says there actually probably would be somebody that you've already been thinking about sort of erasing or dropping in your life, and you finally commit to do so this week. For your challenge this week with fire, we do have the Four of Swords upright. Four of Swords upright is kind of interesting because it does your challenge is basically not pushing things forward faster than they should. Good or bad. Okay, sometimes even when it's bad things, we're like, let's just get it the hell over with. No. Sometimes it's good and you want, it's like, I don't want to wait till next month, or 3 months from now, or 6 months from now. I want it to happen now. No, the Four of Swords is basically saying this is a recharge week for a lot of you. You've got to let your environment catch up to you. The Four of Swords as a challenge can indicate here a need to also pay attention to where, again, taking that space away from people, even when you're tempted not to, can be a hard thing to do. Do you want to take that space and that downtime, even though you may feel like, this might rub a partner the wrong way, or this might rub a friend the wrong way, or this might change how people look at me at work because I don't want to be as available. The challenge is actually giving yourself that, because there may not actually be any consequences at all. For your emotions with water and your romantic life, we do have the Empress reversed. One of the things I'm kind of picking up from this card is that I think there may need to be some kind of talk going on with a partner, maybe a new person you're dating or somebody you're talking to. And the Empress reverse does talk about an issue that may revolve around waste or wastefulness. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be about, like, wasting money, but it could be about wasting time. Not that the relationship is a waste of time, but maybe we're not actually having the most quality of time that we normally do. And it doesn't mean that we don't care about our partner or they don't care about us, but because, some people will take it to a negative extreme, even in a short video. But with the Empress reversed, what it can indicate is that the quality of time or what we're doing or accomplishing or quality of conversations, all of that, something needs to be checked here, okay? If there's a new person in your life and you find out that they're just, a new crush, if you meet somebody new this week, pay attention to the fact that there, you know, if there isn't like an exchange going on, if there isn't really a connection being made, that doesn't necessarily mean it's something that needs to be thrown in the trash, but it may tell you a little bit about how this person, you know, does and does not savor the time they spend with each individual person, and, you know, may help to try and get to know them a bit further, but also figure out maybe a little bit about, well, is that just your nature, or are you just going through something right now? And the same can be said for a current partner. We already got some stuff show up about insecurities lately, and you may be noticing that a partner is just not as emotionally fluent this week, I think, as perhaps we would like them to be. And again, it may feel like some of the time we're spending together, you know, our minds are drifting off elsewhere, or theirs are. We're not really in the moment, so to speak, with our partner this week. And that doesn't necessarily mean, again, it's not condemning the relationship. There could be something very real, very distracting going on for one or both of you. But insecurities and the topic of wastefulness will have to come up, you know, not so blunt as to say we're wasting our time or we're wasting money, but there could be a talk about how we could improve these things, how these things can get a little bit better. With the Four of Swords, I think that maybe this is just a week where we probably would be better to take some of our own space, but we're hanging out together anyway. That isn't always the best choice, you know, so just keep in mind where we can keep that in balance this week, because, again, we don't want to bring out anyone's insecurities, we don't want to inflame them or pour gas on a fire that's already burning, but we don't necessarily want to build up any, you know, resentment or discomfort between us either when the time we come together to spend together is spent, okay? So it's an interesting kind of, you know, dance to play, but it's a form of relationship politics that must be mastered for, you know, a mature, long-term commitment. So that is your horoscope, Taurus. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.